Today I am going to discuss why the death penalty should no longer be a form of punishment in the United States. In the year 2000, Clayton Lockett was sentenced to death for his heinous crime of sexually assaulting and murdering two teenage females. On April 29, 2014 at 6:23 p.m., the executions began, but did not go as planned. Lockett was sentenced to capital punishment via lethal injection. Lockett was given the drug midazolam to make him unconscious, and then two drugs, bicuronium bromide, which is a paralytic, and potassium chloride to stop his heart. The drug combination had previously been used in Florida, but never with the dosage of midazolam that was given in the Oklahoma execution. According to NBC News, after the drugs were administered, Lockett reportedly became conscious and even tried to sit up, but about 45 minutes after the lethal dose was given, he died of a massive heart attack. The execution is currently under investigation. Botched executions, the cost, and the moral responsibility we have as citizens are all reasons the death penalty should be abolished in the United States. I'm going to tell you why capital punishment should no longer exist in America. The definition of moral is concerning or relating to what is right and wrong in human behavior, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Some argue that capital punishment is completely immoral, and some even go as far as saying it's hypocritical to teach others that killing people is wrong by killing people. Others would also argue that even with the threat of capital punishment, criminals will be criminals. The United States had a 2012 murder rate of 4.8 victims per 100,000, meaning that nearly 15,000 people were victims of homicide that year, according to listverse.com. As citizens of the United States, we have a moral responsibility to know the difference between right and wrong and to know that killing a person is wrong no matter the situation. Next, I'm going to discuss the high cost of executions. The cost of lethal injection and carrying out an execution is more than keeping a felon in prison for life without parole. The death penalty is much more expensive than life without parole because the Constitution requires a long and complex judicial process for capital cases, according to deathpenalty.org. The same site includes a report of California's cost studies, which finds that California spends an additional $184 million on the death penalty per year because of the additional cost of capital trials, enhanced security on death row, and legal representation. The findings of California's legal expenses in cases where capital punishment is sought are parallel to every other state where the death penalty is legal. Finally, I am going to discuss botched executions where criminals have endured cruel punishments. In any instance of performing an execution, something could go horribly wrong. In the United States, we have the Eighth Amendment, which protects citizens from cruel and unusual punishment. Having an execution botched, which is where the prisoner would feel pain, is considered torture, which is protected by the Eighth Amendment. As reported by the Death Penalty Information Center, there have been 44 botched executions in the United States since the penalty was reinstated in 1978. By botching executions, the United States is denying its citizens of their Eighth Amendment right, prohibiting the government of using cruel and unusual punishment. There is no way to know if any execution is pain-free, and botched executions come with some of the worst pain, and some would describe it as torture. In conclusion, capital punishment is not morally right, is very costly to the state, and can easily be botched, which is why the United States should no longer use the death penalty to threaten murderers.